Hi, welcome to my channel. It's Ann Winbush University 101, and I'm here to tell you all my testimony of how I met my husband. So, like I told you in the previous video, that I didn't date for 2 years. And during this time, my son's preschool had a Thanksgiving program. And so after this program, they had this line that if you wanted prayer, you could come up and get in the line. And so I got up and I got in line, and she began to pray for me, and she began to prophesy to me. And so she told me that my husband would come through my children, that he would love them as his own. She said that he will be unique, that he would help me start my business. I mean, she told me so many different things. And so as time went on, I just could remember, like, I am going to meet my husband through my children. He will love them as his own. So every time I went on a field trip, every time there was a function at their school, I made sure I put myself and had myself together. I'm like, okay, you never know. Today could be the day. And so, I went through life like that just for a little while. And my sister ended up on bed rest in 2002 with my nephew. And so that Christmas, I needed to go out to get my children's gifts for my sister because she couldn't do it. And so this particular night, my friend and I went to the movies after work. And so I'm like, oh, Toys R Us is still open. They stay open pretty late. So I'm going to go run over here and get the list taken care of that my sister gave me for my children. And so I go in Toys R Us and I'm looking around, and so I get in line and I look over and I'm like, oh my goodness, don't look. Just stay focused. Do not look that way. The devil is a liar. You are not going to tempt me. I am not dating. I still have 6 more months to go. No, no, no. Don't look. But mind you, prior to this, I had asked God, because I had already not dated for a year before he asked me to give him 1 more year. I'm like, Lord, because for a moment I had just got tight. Like, I just want to meet him. I know I can't date, but I just want to meet him. And I had forgot I even had requested that. So I'm looking over at him and I'm looking like, no, just stay focused. And so he had 2 other people with him, and they were already gone through the checkout. And so they were standing in front of my checkout. And later on, he tells me that he was looking at them like, I mean, what she look like? And so I'm going through the checkout like I'm not looking at him. I'm going to get these things I need to get. I'm going to roll this cart out. I'm going to get my car and I'm going home. And so I'm rolling my cart out and I'm going past the cart return. And here he comes pushing his buggy. Now, mind you, I had wore these shoes to work that had this skinny pointy heel and pointy toe with a heel, and oh, my feet were hurting so bad. So I had went to the beauty supply store and bought some house shoes to put on, and I put those house shoes on, and I'm like, okay, this is so much better. And I didn't take them off, so I wore them to the movies and I wore them inside Toys R Us. And so I'm coming out of Toys R Us with these house shoes on, and he's passing me, putting his little buggy back into the return. I'm like, don't look at my shoes. Just don't look at my shoes. And he's looking like, what are you talking about? So I go to my car, put my stuff in my car. And then all of a sudden I hear boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, okay, he's banging on my back window. I'm like, okay, what is going on? So he comes around to my window. He introduces himself. I introduce myself. I'm like, are you saved? He like, well, yeah, what are you talking about? I'm like, do you know Jesus? He like, yeah, yeah, what are you talking about? And I'm like, okay, I just have to make sure because I'm just saying. And I was like, well, I'm not dating right now. He was like, well, can you still take my number when you start dating, give me a call. And really, I think he was looking like, girl, yeah, right. You just don't want to talk to me. You could just say that. And so I go home and I see my sister. I'm like, oh my goodness, I just met this guy and he's this, and oh my goodness, he's handsome and he's tall, and oh my goodness, this and that and that and this and this. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. And then I go to work the next day, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. This guy and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. And so I'm like, but I can't date y'all. I'm telling y'all now, I can't date. So here comes June, and finally I can date. And so I'm like telling my friend, okay, I can date now. And so my friend is like, so Ann, what are you going to do? Are you gonna call that guy? I'm like, I'm not calling him. I said, he not gonna remember who I am. I'm not gonna call him. And so, she was like, okay, all right. So she brought it up again. Are you gonna call that guy? I was like, no, I'm not gonna call him. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call. By this time, it's July 11th, and I give him a call, and he remembers me. Now, let me tell you all something about when I did start dating. Now, my husband was not the only person that I met. What I did was begin to interview people. I had a notebook, something like this. I would write their names down, their ages, their occupation, and I would ask a million questions. The one thing I could tell you all, ladies, is when you first meet a man is the time to ask him as many questions as possible. Get as personal as possible. Like I asked my husband, are you sleeping with anybody? And he answered these type of questions. You can ask whatever you want to in the beginning because nobody had nothing to lose. They don't know if it's going any further. I knew that when I interviewed these guys, I knew my husband was the one. I had wrote a list prior to even starting the date. 10 things, attributes, ladies, attributes. Character, the things that are on the inside. I wasn't worried about the outside, the attributes. So I had wrote 10 of them, and he actually possessed 8. So I'm like 8 out of 10, and I'm looking at these other people like, they're so way far off. You guys have to understand too, we're like magnets. We draw to us what we are. So that's why you really need to take the time and marry God, so he can go into your heart and circumcise it, that he can transform your thinking, because so often we have been damaged, we have been broken, we have low self-esteem, and we don't love ourselves. So you really need to marry him so you can know what that love feels like. And so you can even know how to love your mate. God loves us with an agape love, an unconditional love. And you have to learn how to love people like that too. So to continue on, I called my husband. I talked to him for like 2 weeks. He wanted to meet me right away. I'm like, nope. So I talked to him. We go through this process for about 2 weeks. And basically the rest is history. We dated 5 years before we got married, and we've been married this year 9 years. We'll celebrate our 9th year of wedding bliss this June. So, and to talk about marriage is a whole nother subject, because it is blissful, but it's not easy. It is not easy, but with God, all things are possible. And if you stay focused on him, everything will go well with you. And this is my alarm telling me it's time to go. I have to get ready to go to work. So thank you all for just spending this morning with me and allowing me to come to you on this YouTube channel. Once again, this is Ann Wimbush, University 101. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. If you have any other topics that you want me to talk about, leave them in my comment section. Subscribe to my channel. Bless you. See you later.